Hey guys, Julian Green here with another bit of Juju Reviews, and guess what? I'm not reviewing a movie today. Today I'm going to review this bad boy, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Alright, so if you guys have been keeping up with J.K. Rowling on Pottermore, or pretty much the internet in general, you know that she likes to expand on the characters that she created in the Harry Potter universe. And if you don't know, Harry Potter is the head of magical law enforcement. Hermione basically became this big-time wizard lawyer. Ron was also integral in helping Harry Potter revolutionize this Auror department. And then when they had peacetime, then he decided to go help George run the joke shop that him and his twin brother ran. Now this story is basically, it's going to be about Albus Severus Potter, you know, Harry Potter's middle child that you saw at the end of the last book or movie if you haven't read the books. And the story pretty much follows like Albus's struggle to kind of like step away from his father's shadow, and admittedly so. Most famous wizard of all time defeats the most evil, famous dark wizard of all time. And pretty much this guy was famous since before he was even born. So it's understandable how that's a big shoes you gotta fill. So when I heard that this was gonna be a play chronicling the next adventures of these characters, new characters and old, I was genuinely super excited about it. Now before I start this, I want you to know that this is gonna be a spoiler heavy review. If you haven't read the book yet, then don't, just click away right now, do it. You still there? Alright, so let's talk about it. So I'm a major Harry Potter fan, alright? Check this out. Bam, bam, bam. If you see my intro, then you know I got a case of the whole book series as well. Also the DVDs. So yes, what do I think about this book? It sucks. I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't read this. I'm just saying for my personal preference, it freaking sucks. And for maybe you might change your mind from what I'm about to tell you. So what's my first gripe with this book? So remember at the end of the last book where Albus Severus was telling Harry that he was afraid that he was gonna get into Slytherin, he was really worried about it, and then Harry says, hey, it doesn't matter. Your two names, Albus Severus, were named after two of the greatest wizards of all time. And one was a Gryffindor and one was a Slytherin. And no matter what you become, we're gonna love you. But if it matters that much to you, you can always choose. The Sorting Hat takes your thoughts into account. Surprise, surprise, at the beginning of this book, Albus Potter is a Slytherin. And it clearly shows that Harry is kind of disappointed with this. Now me, I genuinely like this, okay? I genuinely like that the son of the famous wizard Harry Potter is a Slytherin. And adds a new wrinkle to the story, adds a new dynamic. What does this mean for Albus's future? It's really cool. And what's also really cool is that the friend that becomes the best friend of Albus is Scorpius Malfoy, the son of Draco Malfoy. Now that's also awesome. Two people whose dads were enemies become best friends? That's great. I'm loving this book so far. First 10 pages, I'm just like, yeah. But what about the characters that we grew to love over the course of this time? Well, let's start with the famous trio. Like I said, Harry Potter's a hypocrite. At one point, he even tells him to stop hanging out with Scorpius because he doesn't trust him. You would think that Harry Potter making friends in a variety of different places, knowing that Snape was a good guy, knowing that Peter Pettigrew, a Gryffindor, was a bad guy, you would be a little bit more forgiving about what your son's choices and friends would be. Hermione is pretty much the only character who stays consistent from one series to this one. She's still a bookworm, she's still super smart, she's still the level-headed one of the group. Hermione, you go girl. You can obviously tell that whoever wrote this like really got down the character of Hermione very down pat, and I hope the actress does a really good job at portraying that as well. Now, rounding out the trio is Ron. Ron has been one of my favorite Harry Potter characters ever. He was complex, he was poor, but at the same time he was a coward, but still able to be brave enough to stand up for his friends and for Harry whenever the moment needed be. This guy was always down for his friends. He would do anything for Harry or Hermione. This portrays him as a freaking idiot. Ron is just, he's barely in the book that much. The book starts off with the famous trio, but it doesn't end with them. It's really just very, very dumb. Like, let me tell what first offense, okay? He gives his nephew, Albus Potter, a love potion. A love potion. Now, for those of you guys don't know, the love potion is basically the date rape drug of the wizard universe. I'm dead serious. At one point in book 6, Hermione warns Harry, hey, this girl's trying to slip you a love drug potion. Watch out for her.
See that girl over there? That's Romilda Vane. Apparently she's trying to smuggle you a love potion.
You know what? I'll take it a step further. Voldemort was conceived under the effects of a love potion. That's right. Voldemort's mother fell in love with this dude who didn't even know she existed, snuck a love potion on him, had sex with him, and had Voldemort. By the time that she wanted to see if he actually loved her without the effects of the love potion, once that effect wore off after like, what, 8, 12 years, the dude just snapped out of it, didn't know where he was, and left. Didn't know he had a son, didn't know he had a wife, Just gone. And Ron gives this to his nephew with the intent to give to a woman. Oh my god, like they just made, and Ron is just clueless through the whole thing. He doesn't know what's going on. Honestly, like when Harry and Hermione are having their adventures, they pick up one other character that's not him, and he's just off to the side, not doing anything but making stupid jokes, and just like he's basically, hoo, look at me, I'm Goofy Ron. You're one of the famous trio, okay? That's let me get off that. I'll come back to that in a minute because he does some really dumb stuff throughout the course of this book. Now, what I don't like about the character of Albus Severus Potter is that, to me, I see him as this dark-haired, black, super black eyeliner, grungy teenager who's like, oh no, I hate my dad, I got major daddy issues. Shut up, Dad, I don't like Quidditch. Quidditch sucks. You don't like me because I'm a Slytherin, right? Like, honestly, the dude, Harry Potter, is trying. He's trying to connect with you. He asks you questions, he asks you how's your day going, and you're just like, oh, it's good, all right, Harry Potter, huh. Dude, it's not your dad's fault that he was thrust upon this wizarding war and became super famous, okay? Get over yourself. And a couple characters tell him that, too. His best friend tells him, get over yourself, dude. One character that I did really like was Scorpius Malfoy. This guy is nothing like Malfoy at all, so it leads me to believe that he's more like his mother. Scorpius is the most happy-go-lucky guy ever. He's a super nerd. He, like, is... I don't know, he's just super lovable. He has a crush on Ron's daughter, and no matter what people say about him, he always has a smiley deposition. Which is great considering that everybody has started this rumor that Scorpius is the son of Lord Voldemort. There's this whole thing that said Malfoy used a time turner because him and his wife couldn't have a son. So they decided to pretty much have Malfoy's wife have sex with Voldemort, which doesn't make sense because he got married after Voldemort died, so I don't know. Oh yeah, the time turner. Forgot about that. I'm really angry, guys. But it's just the fact that he's super happy despite the fact that people are saying he's the actual son of the most darkest wizard of all time, but he still keeps a smile on his face. He keeps his head low. He doesn't bother anybody. But he has no friends other than Albus because nobody wants to hang out with him. And nobody wants to hang out with Albus because he has this giant chip on his shoulder, so he can't really do magic that well, and he doesn't like Quidditch, and he's just not his dad. I don't know what's his problem. He's the middle child. You would think that the first child would have this problem, maybe even the third, but you should just get over yourself, bro. Just stop it. So the story really picks up where Amos Diggory, the father of Cedric Diggory, you know, Robert Pattinson in the fourth movie / book, when he's basically blaming Harry for his son's death. Yeah, I mean, it's Harry's fault that he got tricked into going to a graveyard outside of school, and this guy, the most darkest wizard of all time, basically killed him. I guess that's Harry's fault. Whatever, bro. To each his own. But he basically finds out that Harry is keeping a time turner at the Ministry, even though time turners have been banned since, you know, the third book. So he's basically saying like, hey, you have a time turner. You're going to give me that, right? Because, you know, my son died. I want to save my son. Will you let me that happen? Harry, being the good guy that he is, says, no, I can't let you do that. You can't play with time. He gets angry. End of conversation. Until you realize Albus is overhearing this thing for whatever reason. And that's where we get introduced to this character of Delphi, who is the niece of Amos Diggory, apparently, who takes care of him because he's living in this weird home. So anyway, plot point done. Like, you think it's over, but it will circle back around and we'll get to that. So, you know, out of nowhere, Albus and Scorpius, like, now we fast forward to their 4th year, so they're 14 now. And for some reason, Albus just says, hey, let's go to the Ministry, steal that time turner, and save Cedric Diggory for whatever reason. You have no connection to his dad. Why do you want to go on this daring adventure having not done anything spectacular before? Like, honestly, you're a loser. I'm not mad that you're a loser. It's just the fact that you see yourself as a loser. You don't want to do anything but hang out with Scorpius all day, and out of nowhere, you want to do this? Like, what's your reason? Why? But whatever, anything to get the plot in gear, right? So they're on top of the Hogwarts Express. They hop out the window and they're on top of the Hogwarts Express, and this is something that threw me way off. So, remember the trolley witch? That, you know, she walks around and she says things like, anything from the trolley, Des? Anything from the trolley? Apparently, she has some, like, type of Spider-Man powers or something, because she's on top of the Hogwarts Express while the other boys are on top of it, and she's still pushing that down trolley, and this chick becomes the Terminator. I'm dead serious. She throws candy bombs, and she's trying to legit kill these people for leaving the Hogwarts Express. Apparently, she has this record that she wants to keep, like, 100 because she's never let nobody leave. And she reveals that Sirius Black tried to leave once, and Fred and George tried to leave once. So, shouldn't they be dead? Like, you threw bombs at these 14-year-old boys. I'm pretty sure you would get fired for that. Who hired you to do this job? Not only that, her hands turn into like spikes, just like Terminator 2. She starts swiping and slashing, and it's the craziest thing ever, man. And so now when I look at the Trolley Witch in the books and in the movies, I'm never gonna see her the same. She's the Terminator, the Terma-Witch, the Trolley Witch Terminator. Well, anyway, they team up with Delphi and they say like, hey, we need your help to save your cousin, Cedric. So apparently we have this new trio of characters or whatever. I think Albus personally just has the hots for her. Like, he just, like, honestly, he really is feeling this chick. So apparently Hermione is hiding it in her office, and not only that, she's hiding it in books. Yeah, she bewitched the books to have riddles and stuff, but that's kind of like it's very conceited of Hermione to think that nobody would guess these riddles other than her, because Scorpius is just as smart as her. So pretty much the scene just relies on Scorpius to solve these riddles. And yes, it's dangerous for a minute, but these characters are brand new. They're not gonna die. So they find the time turner and they decide to go back in time to where the Triwizard Tournament is happening in the 4th book. So they travel back in time and they pretty much try to rework these winnings that he did in the competitions. So they go to the first task, they thwart his attempts to get the egg, and apparently when they go back forward, because the time turner only allows them to travel for 5 minutes, they go back to their present, and turns out that Ron and Hermione are no longer married. Rose, the daughter of Ron and Hermione, no longer exists, and for some reason that makes Albus end up in Gryffindor instead of Slytherin. And then Harry is just this major dick. Like, he puts him under like Azkaban lockdown mode, okay? He says, look, I got the Marauders map. I'm gonna give it to McGonagall, and she's gonna watch her every freaking step, and you're never gonna hang out with that boy again. Like, damn, Harry, shit. So Albus and Severus basically, like, still have the time turn, and they say, like, okay, so apparently, like, this motivated Cedric to win the second task, which he did, and he still ended up getting killed. So let's go back to the second task. So, this is something that really bothered me, like, okay, so second task, they decide to humiliate Cedric. Okay, they say if he gets humiliated, he's not going to want to go to the third task, meaning that he'll stay alive, meaning that our mission will be accomplished. So even though you change time with this one little inkling in the first one, you're going to go back and do it again. Let's see how this works. So, you know, the second task of the 4th book, you know, they're in the water. You know, they turn into fish, uses the bubble charm, whatever. They're in the water. Albus uses the same curse that Harry uses in the 3rd book to blow his aunt up. He uses that on Cedric, and Cedric floats out of the water, super fat and everything. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's, like, pretty much teasing him about it. And this humiliates Cedric, rightfully so. But when they go back to the present, Scorpius is the only one who comes back. Turns out Albus Potter never exists. Harry pretty much died in the Second Wizarding War, and Voldemort won. So now we're living in this dark future where Voldemort is the winner. Slytherins pretty much rule the school, and people are getting tortured left and right. Scorpius is now the big man on campus. Apparently he's this really evil kid. And Cedric is a Death Eater now. Yeah! Why? Like, so you mean to tell me that Cedric would become a Death Eater because he got humiliated in a match? For those of you who know Cedric, he was a pretty confident dude. He was confident as heck, okay? This dude walked with like a little pep in his step everywhere he went. So you mean to tell me that because he got blown up during a challenge and people laughed at him, that turned him dark? Is that what creates Death Eaters now? And then he goes on to kill Neville Longbottom? Did that lead to this? What? I don't think that would ever happen to Cedric. Like, that's basically saying that somebody stole Voldemort's chocolate milk in the orphanage and that's what led him to becoming evil. No, that's stupid. But we do see an interesting future, honestly. Like, you see a future where Ron and Hermione aren't together again, still. Hermione apparently is this professor at Hogwarts, and she's kind of a dick. Like, she's like Snape-level dick. This is in the first future. She's a dick. She becomes a teacher, and Ron has, he ends up marrying Padma Patel, you know, the Indian chick he went to the ball with. It's a weird thing. But in the dark future, Hermione is now this resistance leader who looks beautiful. The book wastes no time in saying that. She has flowing hair. She looks super awesome. And there's this rebellion that's still trying to overthrow Voldemort despite the fact that Harry's dead. And this is where Ron comes again to do his normal buffoonery. He has spiked hair, and when he sees that Scorpius is in there, he takes out his wand and realizes that it's backwards and then flips it, clearly showing that he's not capable of doing anything. They even say that, oh, Hermione's the most wanted person in the wizarding world. And then Ron says, yes, I'm wanted too. And everyone pretty much says, no, you're not wanted. Nobody wants you. And he just agrees, like, yeah, you're right. Like, really? He is part of the famous... And you also see Snape, because apparently Snape never died, but he's still working for the good guys. He's just... Voldemort still sees him as, you know, one of his own. Umbridge is a head mistress. She's working with Voldemort. So now you got you know, Malfoy, and then he decides to use the time turner to go back and reverse these effects. So he ends up doing it, and he ends up setting it right the way it's supposed to be. But then this kicks off Scorpius and Albus are gonna destroy this time turner, but they waste so much time in deciding how to destroy it, even though you can just step on it. They want to make it look cool. The words from the book, that's what they said. Delphi shows up, and apparently she's evil. She's evil. Now, honestly, like, I didn't trust this chick from the beginning, but like, it was a nice twist to them to see that she was evil. But not only that, it's the type of evil that she is. Her whole plan is to use the time turner to basically kill Harry Potter before he's even born. This is a Terminator plot, guys. It really is. So she wants the Dark Lord to return, and she wants to serve him. Why? Well, this is probably where I'm going to end this review, because like, I honestly don't want to talk about this anymore. I really don't. Delphi is the daughter of Lord Voldemort. The daughter... Okay. So apparently, Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange, you remember Bellatrix, the one with the black hair, the one who was like super bat crazy in the books? Apparently her and Voldemort banged and had a kid. Now, the number one thing about Voldemort is that he is incapable of love. Oh, but Julian, like, he doesn't have to love somebody to have sex with them. He could just be lust. Voldemort is not capable of showing anything within the physical affection capacity. You would honestly believe that Voldemort, a guy who couldn't even hug Draco Malfoy right, would hug his legs around Bellatrix Lestrange? It was obvious that Bellatrix Lestrange wanted the Voldy numbnuts, but do you really think that Voldemort would be down for that? Every time she tried to touch him, he pushed her off of him. So wait, and another thing about Voldemort is that he is super conceited. He never had any doubt that he would defeat Harry Potter, okay? His ego was way out there. So if you want to make that argument that maybe he had a backup plan just in case Harry Potter killed him, that he wanted to have a kid to prolong his legacy or something, that just doesn't make sense. So now this got me having like weird feelings of Bellatrix and Voldemort like kind of banging, and you know that weird scream that he will always do, the one that sounded like this? To me, I see this whole thing as Voldemort getting on top, whatever, and him going like this. Like, you know that's what he would do once he like climaxed. He would just honestly, this book got me losing my mind. I'm just And then they tried to say that Bellatrix had the child before the Battle of Hogwarts, meaning that throughout this entire time when, like, you know, she tortured Hermione and she captured Harry and Ron and everybody else in her house, she was pregnant that whole time? No. Like, that was the fastest pregnancy ever. Yeah, I know you guys have magic, but you still have to wait 9 months to have a child, but whatever. Anyway, Harry and Albus end up saving the day. And another thing, apparently adult Harry, adult Ron, adult Hermione, Albus, Severus, everybody, they witnessed Harry Potter's parents getting killed. They sat there and they watched it happen. So now, when I see this iconic moment happen in the movie or in the book, now I'm just going to imagine, like, Harry in the next house, like, in the window, just kind of like, oh, and, they don't even kill Delphi. Like, they just, this chick was like just as powerful as Voldemort, like just as, if not just like a little bit under. Like, it took all of them to defeat her, and instead of killing her, you put her in Azkaban. Like, you knew you had to kill Voldemort. Now his offspring, who's clearly just as evil, you're gonna put her in Azkaban? That's out of... Anyway. So, I'm sorry, I'm like losing it. So yeah, man, like this book is like, honestly, I would be fine with this if I read this on Tumblr or at the bottom depths of Reddit, or even like from the same chick who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know, I would have been fine with it. But the fact that it's canon, this thing is canon, that really bothers me. Because now these things have actually happened. This is actually what Harry and his friends are going through. Ron's now an idiot for God knows what reason. Harry's a kind of a hypocrite, even though I guess he remedies that in the last. Albus is this rebellious teenager. The trolley witch is the Terminator. And the whole time turner thing is just really weird. Like, the whole thing about time turners is that, you know, you're supposed to the way they set up time turners in Prisoner of Azkaban is that no matter what happens, it's going to happen. You can throw a wrinkle in there every now and then, but it's still going to circle back to the same thing. There's no alternate universes. Like, there's no, like, small thing that changes the entire course of everything. And, you know, honestly, like, this was just lazy writing. And J.K. Rowling said that she wrote the story to this, but I do believe that she wrote, like, maybe, like, 8 pages of plot points, and the guy wrote the first 2 sentences and said, all right, I got it. You know what? I'm going to choose, even though it is, I'm going to choose that this is not a part of the canon. I'm gonna use it as a step stool instead. And you know, there's things that I like. Like, I liked seeing like alternate universes. It was interesting. I did like Scorpius and Albus's friendship. It's a very strong thing that I really enjoyed. I loved Hermione, but I even liked Draco Malfoy. Malfoy was great too. Like, he had a nice little arc. They replace Ron with Malfoy. Like, instead of it being Harry, Ron, and Hermione solving these mysteries, it's Harry, Hermione, and Draco. You know what? If you want to read the book, read it. I'm never gonna pick it up again. I'm not gonna burn it or throw it away. I bought it, and I gotta put it with that collection since it's canon. But you know what? I'm done. So yeah, guys. As always, thanks for watching. I make videos here. Probably try to make videos every week. If you guys want me to review anything else, since, you know, I reviewed my first book, then just let me know in the comments down there. And just remember, I'm a guy in his room talking to a camera. Love you, and I'm